Mars, I have no question, is a feasible destination. Now, having said that, we don't know how to do that. We don't know how to go there yet. And one of the great advantages of a new and extensive program of exploring the moon is that you can begin to understand better and to test out many of the approaches that you would take to issues related to Mars exploration. Now, of course, Mars is a long way away. It is, if you use minimum energy propulsion, you're going to spend at least 9 months, 8 to 9 months getting there. You probably have to spend 18 months in the vicinity of Mars and then another 8 or 9 months coming back. So that is difficult from a radiation exposure point of view, from a just general space adaptation point of view. Those are issues we do not understand. We know that there are problems, potential problems, and adverse reactions to space adaptation and adverse reactions to continuous radiation exposure. But we do not yet know what the solutions, what the mitigation of those problems will be. It doesn't mean that they don't exist and that we won't figure it out, but we don't know yet. Very important part of it. And then we don't know how to actually do the entry, descent, and landing on Mars. We can do that right now with payloads up to, say, about 4 metric tons using parachutes as a primary deceleration device. But when you start to think in terms of human or crewed spacecraft, you're looking at probably a minimum of 40 metric tons. And getting that kind of a vehicle down to the surface of Mars through entry, descent, and landing is something we just don't know how to do. It doesn't mean we won't learn and that bright young men and women won't figure it out, but we have a lot of work ahead of us and a lot of thinking ahead of us and testing in the upper Earth's atmosphere, for example, ahead of us before we will know how to do that. Now, once you get on the surface of Mars, I think our lunar experience is very, very much applicable to what we would want to do on Mars, with one exception, is that as soon as you start to penetrate the surface of Mars, by drilling or some other process, to reach down where there is the greatest probability of extant life, namely the interface between ice and water beneath the surface of Mars, then you have to figure out, how do I make sure that I can know what's there and that it is not a threat to the crew. Now, I don't expect it to be a threat, but nevertheless, clearly the powers that be are going to insist that we protect crews as well as protect return materials as we gather those materials and bring them back to Earth.